I love my wife very much, but here's the story. We met in high school. Both Emma and I were innocent children then. We studied together. After school, we went to different universities. But after studying, we hurried to meet each other. In the third year, we got married, and a year later, we had a son. We've been living together for 12 years. After our son grew up and graduated from junior high school, my wife's parents enrolled their grandson in a fashionable military college. And Emma suddenly turned to religion. I first thought it is her from boredom, but she was seriously involved and more time spent in temples, and even gathered somewhere there in the pilgrimage. Of course, she fulfills her marital duty and is always muttering that it is an ungodly thing to do. Needless to say, I was increasingly nervous, and even look at the side. On New Year's vacation, my son was released for 10 days, and it was decided that we spent all the Christmas holidays in the country house at my wife's parents'. I had no idea how this Christmas would turn out for me. Grandfather and grandson finally found common interests and spent the whole day going on a ski trip, or to a museum, or even to a shooting range. Emma was torn between sales and stores and visiting churches, as it was Christmas, then morning service, then evening prayer. Anyway, I sat all day in the big house alone with Emma's mom. She didn't like to go shopping because she was overweight and tired of walking. But despite her age and fullness, Isabella was a cheerful woman with a mischievous humor and an eternal smile on her lips. To be honest, in my opinion, Isabella is not fat at all. And perhaps my wife's coolness in the bedroom made my view of other women less biased. But when one morning my mother-in-law came down to the kitchen in a long nightgown, I realized that I even forgot to breathe while watching Isabella moving around the kitchen. By the way, Isabella is by no means modest. Sometimes in conversations, she makes such jokes that even the neighbors witty blush. No, Emma's character and disposition are not like her mother's. She was talking to me about something, and I mumbled something inarticulate in response. But all I could concentrate on, I nearly choked when I saw Isabella lean over the table to get salt. I knew this would continue day after day. She would walk around the kitchen in her nightie, and I would stare stupidly at her charms, unable to do anything else. I could have left home to avoid this situation. One day I made a decision to talk to her. That Isabella's husband is very fond of the service? I asked my mother-in-law. Yes, service. It's his whole life. I decided to turn the conversation in the direction I wanted. I hope he doesn't forget about you. I spend a lot of time alone, but I'm used to it. I would never leave your bed if I were him. She looked up from her plate. Mark, you don't have to say things like that to me. I know, I said, looking her straight in the eye. But it's true. You are a very attractive woman, Isabella. She repeated again. Mark, we don't need to talk about anything like that. I got up from the chair and came close to her. Her breathing became heavy. So I shouldn't tell you that I dream about you? She gasped. Mark. Suddenly, the phone rang. We both flinched and stared at the beeping receiver. When I finally explained to the caller that he was in the wrong place, Isabella was no longer in the kitchen, and the voice of our grandson's grandfather could be heard upstairs. The next morning, Isabella started the conversation. Mark, we need to talk about what happened yesterday. You mustn't feel sorry for me, and you mustn't say things like that to me. I sat quietly across from her. You are right, Isabella, that I should take this just to take you seriously. She got up and went to the sink. She was breathing heavily and was very tense, her fingers gripping the edge of the sink, white. I got up too and walked over to her. I love my husband, she whispered. I don't want to traumatize him or Emma. No one will know anything, I whispered to her. Oh, she moaned back. Yes, I said, let's go to the bedroom. I can't on our marital bed. I can't. Then into the living room, there is a sofa there. Well, on the sofa, mother-in-law went. By the way, the sofa is wide, flat, comfortable. At dinner, I couldn't take my eyes off Isabella. I kept remembering us and the couch. It was wonderful. I even volunteered to clear the table just to take my mind off things. My wife and mom brought in a pile of dirty plates. They chatted about nonsense, and then my wife picked up the pie and went back to the dining room while asking Isabella to help me clean up the plates and remembering to grab the ice cream. When we were alone, I turned my mother-in-law toward me and heard her whisper, "What is it on you so much? It's okay, just arch your back." And this time we did without the sofa. My mother-in-law had been glancing at the door to the dining room the whole time. We could hear them laughing at the story the mother-in-law's husband was telling, so we had time. My wife called us in just as we were about to relieve ourselves. For the next few days, my mother-in-law and I took advantage of every free minute we could get alone. We met in the living room on the first floor because all the bedrooms were on the second floor. It was even more exciting than usual because we knew that at any moment we could be caught red-handed. I don't know what will happen in the future, but now I plan to spend our next vacation at my wife's parents' house again. I'll be sure to insist on that.